we're ready, so I'll go ahead and get started. So welcome to this week's CybHER conversation brought to you by Peraton. My name is Janessa Palmieri, and on behalf of Peraton, we are proud to partner with CybHER to bring you these weekly conversations. For those of you who are joining us today for the first time, CybHER is a program out of Dakota State University in Madison, South Dakota, that works to motivate, empower, and educate young women in cybersecurity. Just a reminder, at any point during the program, you can ask a question via the Q&A at the bottom of your screen. I am very honored to introduce today's speaker, Yesenia Yser. Yesenia has spent this last year building an engineering team of 6+ leadership and is responsible for protecting the Red Hat supply chain and engaging with engineering and influencing best security practices and industry standards. Yesenia, thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. If you can hear a dog in the background, just ignore her. I think the mailman's coming there. You know how dogs are with mailmen. They're best friends. All right, so I think everyone can see my screen. So hi, everyone. I am very excited to be here today and just kind of share my story, my journey. I hope you get from this as much as I'm hoping you get from this. If you have any questions or want to chat afterwards, I'm providing my LinkedIn information at the end with some other content, but I just want to thank everyone ahead of time. I'm coming off of a cold, so I sound a little weird. I might need a pause, drink some water, cough, just ignore it. I'll be good. Cool. And then, so I wanted to start with my childhood. I am a first-generation Cuban American. My parents were both working individuals, doing their best to kind of support my siblings and myself. They came to America at a very young age and took whatever opportunities and their knowledge they could to provide for us. They said we were middle class. I felt like we were in poverty, but hey, we survived. I was born and raised in lovely Miami, Florida, in a small town called Hialeah. If you ever come to Miami, don't come to that town. It's a little crazy, but it's known as a second Cuba. A lot of the Cubans immigrate into that area, including 8th Street, Little Havana, and some other areas in Miami. And just a fun picture. I have an older brother and a younger sister. I do suffer from childhood syndrome, middle child syndrome. Sorry about that. Middle child syndrome. This is my parents having us do a yearly family reunion thing called the comparsa. Made us dress up like this. You can see the teenage rebellion in our eyes. I just love this picture. My siblings are gonna hate that this is being recorded, but whatever. I wanted to start with 3 things that I've learned that I kind of just wanted to share. And the first one is a motto that I keep to myself, and I use this often when I just don't feel like I can do it. There's nothing that I cannot do. There's only things that I have not learned how to do. Your body can do many miraculous things. And guess what? You just haven't learned how to either move your body, use that part of your brain. And I had this kind of stuck with me during my undergrad. I had a good friend of mine that was just my go-to person. I remember one day I was talking to him, just freaking out about something. I don't even know what it was. That's how insignificant it is now. But his response literally has stayed in my head till this day. And he told me, like, Yesenia, you're stubborn, you're smart. Like, there's nothing that you can't do as long as you put your mind to it. So stop thinking negative and just go figure it out. Like, stop this. And I kind of paraphrase those words because it's been a couple of years, but the gist is there. Like, after that, this just kind of came my go-to model, the inner voice that I would speak to myself when I would just kind of doubt it. The second thing is become financially independent for yourself. And it's kind of weird to say this in a technical career kind of conversation, but I strongly believe that everyone should be financially independent. There are several instances in my life, from moving out of my parents' house to 2 very bad long-term relationship breakups, that I was very glad to have handled my own finances and made my own money, because it made my life so much easier. Cybersecurity, tech field, STEM, those are ways to actually get yourself. There's other ways, 2021, like crazy ways to make money now, but becoming financially independent for yourself is very important. I've traveled to different areas of the world because of my career and financial planning. And a lot of those trips I took by myself, which is something I just recommend for anybody. So if you've ever feel when you get to a position that you want to travel somewhere, even if it's 3 hours away by yourself, I recommend you do it. Be safe, be smart, do your research, of course. And then 3, whatever it is you do, just make sure it makes you happy and it speaks your truth. Figure out what works for you. Everyone is different. Every field is different. Every role is different. Technology is different. But your core values and your beliefs will affect your day-to-day, especially at work and when you're interviewing. So when you're interviewing, take in consideration what your core values are, what you want, so that you know that you're picking the right choice. Interviewing is not just them hiring me, but me working for them. So that's something out of college I didn't think about. So I just wanted to share that. But this kind of came up because one day a coworker and a very close friend of mine noticed that I was just frustrated and very sad. I was constantly getting migraines. I couldn't work. I loved what I did, but I just hated coming into work. And I didn't understand why. So I talked with her, explained what happened. And she notably just said that I was upset because it's against what I believe in and my core values. So my team was kind of doing things that was against what I believed was right for our customers. Leadership wasn't listening. And I was dealing with the side effects. Like I was dealing with the angry customers. I was dealing with that. So for me, I knew it was time to find another space. So moving over to education, I have a bachelor's degree in computer science and then a master's degree in digital forensics. I wanted to put the time period that I spent in there because people tend to go into their career, their degrees, and they just want to hash it out. 4 years, yeah, it's 4 years degree. The 2010 to 2014 doesn't consider my 2 years of my associates. So I completed my associates between 2008, 2010. So it took 4 years for my bachelor's because I kept failing classes, but here I am. So if you're failing classes, you're struggling. I failed physics 5 times. And then there was Cal 2 that I took about 3 times, and then programming 2, which I took 5 times. So just keep trucking along. Again, with the masters, folks go through their masters in 2 years, and you'll see later I was working as I did my masters. So, give yourself grace. Cool thing about my masters is when I applied for my master's degrees, it wasn't necessarily for my career, but more of something that I wanted to do for myself. Going back to number 3, lesson number 3 is do what makes you happy. And I was in the security field already. I was really learning more than I could in my undergraduate, but I pursued the master's degree for myself. I really loved the show NCIS when I was growing up in high school, and I see a bunch of smiles. So Abby from NCIS, I loved what she did. I don't know what she really did, but I loved it. So I did my master's degree. I did my master's degree because of Abby. So just throwing that out there. All right, cool. So I'm going to go through my little educational journey. And I wanted to start off when I was living at my parents'. So my journey actually started in Ocala, Florida. I know I mentioned that I'm from South Florida, but 2008 recession, my choices became very limited. My parents couldn't afford to send my brother and myself to colleges, at least not CybHER colleges. So it was either live with them, live with my brother, and attend his university, or get a full-time scholarship at any university. Number 3 wasn't happening. I didn't like my brother that much, and I was like, all right. So I lived with them, and I attended the community college where I spent 2 years. But I knew that I needed to move out because this wasn't where I wanted to be and wasn't where I was going. So with the first opportunity, I started at Taco Bell. Wow. I worked my way up for 2 years, saved up money. I think I saved up about $10,000. Does a lot more back in the day than it did now. In 2010, I purchased my first car. I moved to South Florida to start my education at FIU. Since it was difficult to find a job and my savings was getting very low, I took a job at the Taco Bell near the college. Part of me didn't want to do it, but that was my only option. So I moved out. Even though I was living with roommates, college expenses, living expenses, they just became expensive. So as I was attending school, I took a second job as a hostess and waitress, where I worked for several months. Soon enough, all my hustle and bustle of studying for my bachelor's degree, I ended up at an IT position at the university. I broke through into the industry. I honestly applied to any job that interested me and any entry level. This one was the one that I got. This opportunity provided an amazing chance for me to work and study at the same location. Less gas spent. I was at one spot, 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. on campus. The position was relevant. I was very flexible for students. So if it's something that you're looking to work, consider looking at your local university. And IT is a field to get into because it's still tech. And they actually hire for more entry level. With it, I was able to network and I met many folks in and outside of the industry. I worked there for about 3 years for FIU, and it kind of just created a framework, a layer for me and my future and my knowledge. So through my hustle and bustle of studying for my bachelor's degree and working in the university, somebody opened a door for me. And I took a software engineering course over the summer with a professor that worked at Ultimate Software. When the semester ended, he submitted my name for the internship. Granted, I had never given him a resume. I had never told him I was interested, and I never applied for the position. But one Saturday morning, I think it was like 10 a.m. on a Saturday, I got a text from a recruiter seeing if I was available to speak. 10 minutes after that conversation, I was offered an internship position at Ultimate Software and was set to start in 2 weeks. I didn't even interview. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you got to be nice to who you're with and really work, someone's going to open a door for you. So that was my undergrad. My graduate kind of continued off into Ultimate Software. I know we're talking about cybersecurity, but I kind of wanted to give you an idea of where I started. I literally was a drive-through cashier for Taco Bell and a hostess. I came in as an intern, and when I first started, I noticed a particularly glass door that was in the corner of the floor. I've discovered that it was actually the same floor as the security department, and they were behind that glass door. So I decided my next step was to get into security. I literally annoyed a lot of people. I got a lot of pushback from my advisor and folks that I spoke to, but I told every single person at Ultimate Software that I wanted to go into security. Apparently somebody heard me, and within my first month at Ultimate Software, I was interviewed by their security team and given things to study and learn. So I'm in my last semester of my bachelor's degree, taking 4 courses. I am working the internship. I'm living my day-to-day, and I am now studying whatever they gave me. This was honestly one of the most stressful times in my life. But I interviewed with them a month later, and after 2 months, I interviewed with them a month later, and I got started as a software engineer, security engineer intern for their security operating center. After 2 months of being an intern, I was offered a full-time job. So there's hope. As a SOC engineer, I was essentially responsible for investigating and triaging events that were alerted, as well as investigating if an event was an incident and the scope of impact. So how far did this incident actually impact the company? I actually learned the most in this position just because the company was a startup. So we kind of did a lot of different things. I designed and wrote detections. I wrote code and automation to run the detections, read logs, kind of put all those detections into place, as well as automating processes for our alerts, our customers' escalation, the reports that were given to our customers, the information that was given to our service teams that was given to our customers. Overall, just triaging incidents in a security space, and then infrastructure and networking were big things for me. After 2 years, the security organization grew from 12 folks to 80 folks and actually expanded into a global space where we now had offices out in Singapore. The department was reorganized and I moved into the security and research development team. Here, within the first couple of months, I kind of oversaw all the tools and technology from a software development aspect that was being built in the SOC from myself and the other team members. I did some training and onboarding of the new members that were now taking over the SOC, and this included the folks out in Singapore. And then for those tools and services that we provided, I was an escalation point and patch management. So something broke in those, they called me, I fixed it, or I asked one of the engineers to fix it. I soon took more of a technical leadership role in this team. And then within months from me overseeing the security operating tools, my role expanded to support not only those tools, but also the enterprise and self-service security tools that were being used by the company. So security tools in the product, anything that my team built, I was kind of overseeing. So it was about 18 different services that I was kind of the first point of contact for, if not my boss. It was pretty cool. It was a team of about 8 engineers. We had one in Singapore, and then we had offices that opened up in France. So it kind of gave me that a global experience, which is I think important in these day-to-days, especially with the pandemic and everyone going virtual. You're working with people all over the world. So if you find an opportunity to really connect with folks around the world, take it. Then after 3 years in that team, I moved over to another team and oversaw their DevSecOps. DevSecOps essentially entails like the operation and maintenance of the security scanners. So when people write code, these scanners check for different things. There's a plethora of different types of testing that they do, and each tool might just do certain testing. These types of scanners come from like SAS, your static analysis, security testing, your SCAT, your software composition analysis, your DAS, your dynamic application security testing. There's others, and then there's vendors like Blacked Up, Synopsys, and open source tools like OWASP Zap that are kind of used on scanning. Those are some of the tools I'm kind of familiar with from that position, but I was only there for about 3 months. And then post-education. So if you remember the story that I told you in number 3, do what makes you happy. The last few years at the company, I wasn't feeling happy and I wanted to move to a new company. I wanted a new challenge. I did training, I networked with people, I produced what I needed to produce, I kept the lights on, but I just didn't see my career kind of growing there. So I decided to look for a new job. To be honest, it took me about 1.5 years of applying, tweaking, to actually land the job at Red Hat. So during that time, I did several things to grow myself to become more of a technical asset for the next role. And this is where Cybrary actually came into play. After my master's degree, I knew that the knowledge that I gained wasn't going to be put use in my career entirely. So to help share the knowledge or kind of refresh what I learned in my master's, I built out a course that's actually now published in Cybrary.it called Everyday Digital Forensics. The link is provided at the last slide. And I kind of brought it down one level. So I took my master's information, and if I had to explain digital forensics to my mom, I would point her to this course because that was kind of the primary audience for this, was somebody that absolutely knew nothing. It doesn't go into too much of the technical aspects. I'm not happy with the quality of the course, but it's my first course and I learned so much from it that I don't know if I'm going to make another one, but I know if I do, it'll be a little bit better. So once the course was complete, I started to volunteer at Cybrary, and I was populating quizzes and assessments for the courses that are being produced in Cybrary. These are other cybersecurity professionals that are writing courses. Cybrary has now moved over to a sponsorship, and no, they're not paying me for this, but I did build out a course for them, and this is part of my career path. So doing the volunteer work with Cybrary, working and populating these assessments for these courses that other professionals are writing, I was given the opportunity to learn a wide range of information across the security space. So I wrote assessments on ethical hacking, becoming a CISO, which is Chief Information Security Officer. I have to break that down real quick. encryption, certifications, vault, whatever interested me or was applicable to me, because I saw something coming up at work and I was like, all right, let me learn about that. I just studied it, and that gave me that opportunity to just kind of learn, keeping that learning mindset. I joined Red Hat in September 2020 as a senior product security engineer with the primary purpose of auditing and consulting on their supply chain. So supply chain kind of involves the process of building products that are given to our customers. I like the analogy of a chocolate bar factory, just because I love chocolate. But when you pick up a plain Hershey chocolate bar, you expect it to be a non-compromised chocolate bar. You expect it to include the ingredients and only the ingredients that are mentioned on the wrapping paper. So my job is to improve the security posture of how our products are built so that when you eat your chocolate bar, it comes without any malicious content, let's say poison, or for me, and the food sensitivity and peanuts. If I'm eating a plain chocolate bar, I don't want peanuts. So with breaches such as SolarWinds, the Colonial Pipelines in the US, others, there's just been an urgency across the world, really, for proper security around our supply chains. We're seeing a shortage of foods. We're seeing supply chain issues in news all day. Some of them are software and some of them are just industrial. This could also be seen with the US executive order. Now, the government is trying to push more standards across the US to improve how our software is being built. Within this year at Red Hat, the team has grown from myself to a team of 8 to actually now a team of 21 within the last year. So that can kind of show the intensity and the urgency around improving and enhancing our supply chain changes. In this role, I kind of work in a consulting role where I assist the service teams and infrastructure teams on implementing security controls into their services and infrastructures. And I also work with them to architect a solution that would work. I'm also the tech lead currently of the supply chain team, and I'll work with the different engineers providing mentorship, rubber ducky, whatever it is that they need to help move along our projects and our goals. So that's kind of where my career is. And this is just the kind of fun side piece. I kind of see it as a career, but I've been training and coaching Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for about the last 4 years. Currently, I'm a blue belt, and I also coach the kids class, and I'm trying to attend more competitions. There's a lot of the teachings that I do on the mat, whether teaching a child, teaching a whole kids class by yourself, or just learning these new techniques that I've also taken and used in my corporate life. So find something that makes you happy and just see how your improvement in that, can help benefit your improvement in whatever career path you end up going. Who knows, that can also be a career path. And like I promised, that's my LinkedIn. I am working with a few folks in Red Hat with the WIT network, where we're kind of providing Women in Tech WIT network, Women in Software Engineering platform, where I will be helping with them kind of set up seminars and webinars where we talk and we kind of dive into some of the more technical aspects. There's also going to be coding coaches, where we'll pair you up with wherever you're interested in, not just security. I'm helping bring security into that conversation and connect more security folks through this platform. It is a paid membership. No, they're not paying me for it, but I'm helping roll out this community. So if it is something of interest or somebody else, the interest is maybe doing a STEM, that's an area. It's more focused on software engineering as a whole, but security is a pillar of it. I'm also part of Latinas in Tech because I'm Latina. There is my Cybrary.it link to the course. Like I said, they do have payment for a month. It's short 4-hour videos if you wanted to watch it, provide feedback. And then some of the areas where I've provided content, Medium, podcast, I should be posting. It's kind of done right now, but I am going to be posting more in January. I'm working on it now to edit. The go is January. So that's me. Once again, thank you all for attending, and I hope that you have enjoyed my journey. Um, and like I said, if you have any questions or you want to chat, don't hesitate and connect with me on LinkedIn.
Wow, thank you very much. So we have a couple of questions left. Let's see. So who has been your support system throughout your career?
I would have to say my friends. I can't pinpoint to like one individual because different times in my life, different folks have been there for me. There have been some that have been along the way, but there's so many that I don't want to call them out. And then like you didn't say my name, but I love you all. My sister has been a big support and a big drive. And then of course my parents for all their, hard work that they've done to when we were kids, just trying to provide and make sure that we got a proper education and we weren't getting arrested. I was a troublemaker.
So you said you do, is it kickbox? Is that correct? I didn't hear it.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu. Okay. So you do jiu-jitsu and then you also have, your cyber career. How do you balance your life with work?
So when I was looking for a job, I was already teaching the kids class. So one of my requirements for the job was the flexibility of being able to continue that. I noticed that that was something that made me happy. I don't have kids. I'm actually single. I'm not trying to advertise that. But so it kind of just fulfilled me in a certain way that I wasn't getting fulfilled. And just the same way that I love mentoring people and helping folks, just seeing their little faces light up when they figured out a move or seeing their progression as they grow has given me the same kind of joy and fulfillment that mentoring someone, getting them into STEM and doing these kind of talks give me. So I just continued it. I just made sure I could do it. I was like, I'm not working for you if I can't attend my kids' class. Sorry.
I love that. Did you ever see yourself going into cybersecurity?
Yes, I think it was as a little kid. Oh God. I used to so I figured out how to partition my drive like at the age of 10. My parents got my brother a computer, but he just played video games on it. And I would get bored and I would just start messing around with it. And I would see on TV like these like hacker guys, or like they would make this like assassin hacker that should I watched a lot of hacker movies. I just thought the whole idea was cool. I was like, I want to be I'm still not an ethical hacker, but I was like, I want to be a hacker. I really want to be, I mean, it's just a title, but I feel like a hacker. But I was like, I want to be a hacker. So yeah, I will say that in high school, I deviated and tried cooking. I was actually did culinary arts for 3 years. And then I just realized I like to eat the food and not cook for people. So I was like, okay, that's not for me. I tried a bunch of other things. I did computer science because I knew that was going to be a competitive edge. A lot of folks were doing IT, but coding I saw was going to become the future. So I took computer science, but I'll code. I know how to code. It's just not, I won't sit up all night. I'll go to sleep. Like I won't stay up all night just coding. If I got to do something, I'll do it, but I'd rather read code and watch somebody else do it.
So you mentioned hacker movies. What is your favorite hacker movie?
I gotta say hackers. What was it? What's her name? Jennifer. I'm bad with names. She's very famous too. Can't believe I'm forgetting her name. I'm not gonna even try. But the movie Hackers was my favorite. They're like the 80s little bar and they're skating and yeah.
What advice would you give to all the young people watching this session?
Going back to the lessons I learned, do what makes you happy. Find out what makes you happy. Find out what you want to do. Like you're not gonna want to wake up in the morning if that's not something you want to do. I know it's hard to find something and you might get other voices that say, but if there's an inner voice in you saying that, hey, you're meant to be an artist, oh, hey, you're meant to be an influencer, hey, you're meant to be a YouTuber, play video games or write code or be the next UFC star, then you know what? That's your inner voice telling you where your passion, where your drive is. So I just say listen to it. Don't give up. It's tough. It's gonna be brutal. Life sucks, but if you want to make your dream, you just gotta keep going.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for watching thank you so much for joining us for our conversation today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you, Yesenia. You're so inspiring. Do what makes you happy. That's the best advice that you can really give. And to show your career path, how you went from culinary arts to computer science to digital forensics to now cybersecurity is just, it's so awesome. You get a little piece of everything in your life. And it's awesome to listen to inspiring females like you in cyber. So thank you for that. So I'm going to open up a quick poll because I'm really good at using Zoom. No, I'm just kidding. So let me find it really quickly. Okay, and then I'm going to launch it and you should see it on your screen now. Abby, do you see it?
I do see it.
Okay, awesome. And so don't forget to follow us on social media. CybHER has YouTube. We have Twitter, Instagram, everything. And then obviously, if you missed the webinar, you can go to our YouTube channel and watch it. It should be uploaded in the next week or so. And thank you for watching. So everyone have a great night. And thank you, Yesenia, once again.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.